You should be extremely afraid. What the hell are you? We are Venom.
So I went to see Venom, and I have a few thoughts. This is the non-spoiler version of Venom. If you haven't seen the movie, you're safe here. If so, check out my non-spoiler. It's been a long summer. I've had a lot to do, and let's see, I believe the last movie I reviewed was Teen Titans Go to the Movies. I have seen some movies since, and I'll get into those towards the end. But right now, let's discuss Venom. Venom, I will actually say it's an interesting movie. I will go that far. Now, how can I state this? The plot is pretty thin. The villains are pretty cliche. And the female protagonist is kind of lame. But at the same time, the movie is enjoyable because the relationship that Eddie Brock has with Venom, played by Tom Hardy, and if I'm not mistaken, Tom Hardy's the voice of Venom as well. Basically, the movie is good because Tom Hardy is playing well off himself. It's not the greatest of the films. It's not the best superhero movie I've seen this summer or this year of 2018. But it's still fun. It's still a fun film to watch because of Tom Hardy. I know a lot of people that actually had a problem with The Dark Knight Rises, but I still enjoyed it just fine because I loved him as Bane. You have to forgive the barking and any random noises in the background. I'm actually recording from my car, as you can tell. See, proof that I own a vehicle. So the villain of the movie is your stereotypical businessman, philanthropist that is really evil, and he's trying to use the symbiote to harvest them so he can use them to go explore space and pretty much colonize his company out in space. It's a very paper-thin plot, and I guess it has to be paper-thin when you don't even have Spider-Man in the movie. It's weird to have a Venom movie without Spider-Man, but at the same time, there have been comic books of Venom himself, and the movie kind of works without Spider-Man. Not great, but it works. Notice my hesitation right there. Tom Hardy is great. Can't praise the guy enough. Poor guy. He's actually, every movie, he has to wear some kind of mask. The man is actually a great actor. And then you have Michelle Williams. She plays Anne. She's kind of like an ex-girlfriend of Eddie Brock, who lost her job when Eddie Brock acts up for this corporation that's trying to harvest the symbiote. And I can't give you too much information about it, but it gets her to lose her job. And that's basically why they break up. I mean, I feel like if they broke up so easily because of that, then they just were not meant to be. Sorry about the background noise. New York is a pain to film in. That's probably why Venom takes place in San Francisco for some reason. The movie has little to do with a Marvel universe. It does stand on its own. There is a slight Spider-Man reference, but you'd really have to kind of dig for it. Michelle Williams' character as Anne, I really don't like her. She's just more of she has very little to no purpose except for being helpful to Eddie Brock. As a character, she doesn't really stand out on her own. Everything she does is for the male lead. I guess that kind of leads to like some of Hollywood's biggest problems when writing for women. Her only purpose serving in the film is for Eddie Brock. Everything she talks about is Eddie Brock. She's pretty much the only female character in Venom, except for the girl from Broad City, but her moment is actually kind of short too. She's pretty much the only female character aside from the scientist who's from Broad City, but those two never interact. It almost kind of reaches that Bechdel test. I really don't like the character. See, and I think that's more of a Spider-Man comics issue. I notice a lot of female characters in Spider-Man, or in the universe of Spider-Man. Typically, they're either going to be a scientist or a pissed-off girlfriend or pissed-off ex-girlfriend. Those are usually the common traits in the universe of Spider-Man, in the Spider-Verse. As you can tell from the trailer, Eddie Brock comes across the symbiote. The symbiote starts taking over. It tells him things. It speaks to him. And then it's revealed to himself as Venom. And it's played off as an anti-hero. Venom's a villain. He's an overall villain. The movie wants to treat it like a misunderstood monster, and it has no choice to do so because Spider-Man's not in the picture. But I do enjoy Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock. His Brooklyn accent almost borders Boston, but it's not so bad. And his interaction with Venom is hilarious to me because it's very reminiscent of Little Shop of Horrors. Venom is quite similar to Little Shop of Horrors, at least to me. I mean, you got the quiet guy like Seymour to Eddie Brock, and in Little Shop of Horrors, this monstrous plant that just keeps growing is trying to get the quiet guy Seymour to do its bidding, and it starts to become evil to the point where it demands it to kill so it can eat, just like Venom does to Eddie Brock. That's why I really enjoyed the Eddie Brock Venom relationship, because it's kind of like an inner demon trying to take over, and I really did like that they stuck with that. Now, I really think this first movie is more of a filler, because I'll tell you right now, you're not going to get the villain you want in this first movie. You get a different villain. As you've seen from the trailers, it's Riot. He's the first villain that Venom has to take on. My knowledge of Spider-Man is limited. I do know quite a bit of the mythologies, and I know different areas where it goes off, but my knowledge when it comes to Venom kind of is, I learned more from the Sega Genesis video games of Maximum Carnage and Separation Anxiety than anything else. So that is why I was able to identify some of the symbiotes. I would say go see the movie, even if you don't think it's that good. You'll still like the interaction of Eddie Brock. That itself is worth the ticket. Now let me talk to you about my summer of the movies that I did see, but I did not report. The last one I reported that I did a review for was Teen Titans Go to the movies. But over the summer, some of the movies I'm thinking of right from the top of my head, I saw Jurassic World 2, Fallen Kingdom. All right, that movie was really more mind-numbing than good. In fact, it used to be you watch a Jurassic Park movie and it focuses on the awe and wonder of dinosaurs brought to life. But now we've kind of gone beyond that, where it's just one mindless action film. And because action films are so oversaturated, it's no longer that fun. I mean, as far as continuing a story, whatever, but no, I did not enjoy this one very much. Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, not that great. I also saw some interesting comedies that I was dragged on because I was talked into it, but I turned out to enjoy it. I actually did enjoy Dog Days. I'm not a fan of compilation comedies where it's just different stories of different people interacting. And I'm not really a huge fan of animal movies either. But the saving grace of the film was you actually had hilarious comedians. People that I genuinely like in other things. So Dog Days was actually a fun, cute movie. I also saw Crazy Rich Asians. Great movie. Hilarious. It was weird though, because at the theater I went to, I saw it and it actually had captions on the bottom, and the captions was in like characters, so that's fine and that's understandable for the theater I went to. But anytime they were speaking in a different language that wasn't English and they showed the English subtitles, it was blocked by the characters, so I couldn't even see that. But I still understood the movie fine and I loved it, and can't wait for that one to come out. But the one movie that I hated so much with every fiber of my being, I really hated this movie. And I was looking forward to it because internet mythology. Slender Man. I detest that movie. I'm Anthony J. Smith. I'm speaking out of character. I'm not being Anthonyx Maximus. As Anthonyx Maximus, it's fun to tear apart movies. But I'm me myself, out of character, and I want to destroy the movie. That's how much I hate it. The movie did not explain anything of the mythology of Slender Man. I hated the female characters, the four girls that are best friends, and they summon Slender Man, and it becomes hell for them. They're complete morons. It might be my age talking, but I think I've reached that age of my life where I no longer identify with the protagonist. I'm actually for the antagonist, especially if they're monsters. The older you get, the more you actually start rooting for the monsters. But it wasn't even that interesting. Slender Man was, like I said, there was no explanation for Slender Man. Just, he's there, he was summoned, he terrorizes. I was hoping for some kind of backstory, but it's just random garbage. So, those are the movies I saw. I feel like there might have been more. I wanted to have seen Mission Impossible, but I did not get to see that this summer. You can thank MoviePass. I was kissing MoviePass's ass months ago, but they've been really sucking so bad lately that I can't enjoy anything. All the movies that I mentioned, I've had to pay out of pocket. Don't bother with MoviePass. Any good press I've gave MoviePass months ago, I'm regretting it. It's just a terrible company. But back to Venom. Good. It's a good, bad movie. I guess that's a good way to describe it. You can take apart the good things from it. The fighting and the CGI of the symbiote looked much better. Venom was better in this movie than he was in Spider-Man 3, but that's a really low bar to say. There is a mid-credit scene, and we know it leads to the second movie. The whole entire first movie was set up just so we can have the second movie. And it's cool because it's something we want. Trying to do this without giving too much away. But I did not like the actor they chose, and it was so lame that I really don't care if a sequel comes out or not. Then there's the post-credit scene. You can stick all the way through the movie if you want to see it. I'll tell you what it is. It's not even a scene that had anything to do with Venom. In fact, the post-credit scene is actually a movie clip of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. While, yes, I'm looking forward to the movie, and I enjoyed the clip, I did not want to see it. I should have left the theater after the mid-credits because I want to see a movie all the way through. I don't mind trailers, I don't mind previews, but I don't want a full clip of a scene, especially an important scene, which they did. I really rather have been surprised. So if you're like me, just stick through the mid-credits and go home. So that's my thoughts of Venom. Tell me what you think in the comments below. And once you've seen the movie, check out my non-spoiler. Have a good one.